Welcome to Northwestern University. My name is Valerie Smith. I'm an Associate Director of Undergraduate Admission and Director of Visitor Engagement.
My name is Julia Wallace. I'm an Assistant Director of Admission and I work on our Visitor Engagement team as well.
Yes, I graduated from Northwestern in 2017 with my master's degree in higher education, and Julia also has some expertise to share.
Yes, I graduated with my Bachelor's of Science in Journalism in 2022 from our Great Medill School of Journalism. I also studied history and civic engagement.
Our goal today is to give you an introduction to the Northwestern experience, to the academic programs that we offer on campus, to student life and community, and to the admission and financial aid process. So we hope that you treat this as an introduction and then take full advantage of other opportunities to get to know Northwestern, which we will share more at the end of our presentation today. So to get started, let's touch on the basics, where we are located. Northwestern is located in Evanston, Illinois, a vibrant college town that is immediately north of the city of Chicago. So in the city of Evanston, students live on our residential and walkable campus adjacent to downtown Evanston, which is a district where they have access to everything they need to survive as a college student. The Chipotle, the CVS, the Target, and a number of wonderful local restaurants and stores as well. And then we are located, again, as I said, immediately north of the city of Chicago. So I like to say that students at Northwestern have access to the best of both worlds. They are living life day in and day out and building a home on a very traditional residential college campus, and they have access to all the resources available in the city of Chicago immediately to the south. So the Chicago city limits are about 3 miles south of our campus, and downtown Chicago is 10 to 12 miles south, depending on where you are going. And students take advantage of Chicago for all sorts of reasons. They might have a class or a research project or another academic initiative that gets them into the city doing real hands-on work. They might be doing, a summer job through our Chicago Field Studies program, which provides any student at Northwestern with an internship or job experience in the city of Chicago and the surrounding areas. They might also just be having fun, taking advantage of Chicago's diverse neighborhoods, excellent food scenes, and other opportunities to just enjoy the great vibrant city that we call our neighbors. So where we are is important. Who we are is also just as important. So Northwestern's student body totals about 8,000 undergraduate students, and they hail from all over the world, all 50 states and more than 100 countries represented on campus. When they come to Evanston and they join the Northwestern community, they bring with them every conceivable background and identity and preference and set of interests that you can name. When they're all engaging in meaningful ways together in our classrooms, in our residence halls, in student clubs and organizations, they teach each other and they introduce each other to their own lived experiences and to the perspectives that they bring to campus from their backgrounds, right? And from their hometowns. That's really the core of a transformational learning environment, is when you get to learn as much from your peers and your faculty members as you do from a textbook, right? Or from the resources that you're engaging with academically. We do what we can to keep classes small at Northwestern and to ensure that you have as much access as possible to your peers and to faculty in a very collaborative and hands-on academic environment. So again, about 8,000 students, all 50 states and more than 100 countries, spread across 6 distinct undergraduate schools, which Julia will talk about in a minute. A 6-to-1 student to faculty ratio, as you see on the screen, practically means that faculty are accessible to you at Northwestern. They teach all of your classes. They are available as mentors and informal advisors to help guide you through your Northwestern experience and take advantage of the full breadth of opportunities available to you through the quarter system. So one of the other unique pieces of Northwestern's academic experience is that we operate on the quarter system. And it might seem a little strange to start this presentation talking about a calendar, but this is really central to the Northwestern experience. Instead of offering 2 academic semesters per year, one in the fall and one in the spring, Northwestern offers 3 academic quarters, one in the fall, one in the winter, and one in the spring. And then the summer quarter rounds out that 4-quarter model. During the school year, in those 3 academic quarters, students generally take 4 classes in each term for a total of 12 per year. That's a couple of additional classes that you might take if we operated on a semester-based system. And before you X out of this video, because that seems like a terrible deal, let me say that this really works for Northwestern. It gives students an abundant amount of flexibility to explore their interests across a number of different academic disciplines, to take their time as they're determining what they want to pursue academically and otherwise at Northwestern, and to explore the opportunities available across our 6 distinct undergraduate schools. Julia's going to talk about that in just a moment, but first I want to briefly acknowledge that if you've done research about Northwestern, you probably know that we are a research university. And what that means is that everyone on our campus is encouraged or required to contribute in some meaningful and practical way to their field of study. We are a university that is all about hands-on and experiential learning. You may have also heard that Northwestern functions like a liberal arts college, and that's also true. What that means is that students at Northwestern, through the flexibility afforded by the quarter system, have the opportunity to take classes in a variety of different schools and disciplines, to combine those areas of interest into a unique academic program, and to learn how to learn and how to be successful students in a variety of different contexts. So those skills that you learn in different types of classrooms come together to help you, survive and thrive and explore lots of different areas of interest while you're at Northwestern. That begins with, again, those academic home bases in our 6 undergraduate schools.
Yes, so at Northwestern University, we are comprised of 6 undergraduate colleges, our biggest being our Weinberg College of Arts and Sciences. So if you have an interest in maybe economics, which is one of our largest departments, any of our pre-health sciences, chemistry, biology, neuroscience, psychology, or maybe political science or history, that may be considered your home school or where you find a place to land. We also have 5 other, what we kind of refer to as our specialty schools that have more of a clear focus on that pre-professional pathway. We have our McCormick School of Engineering. Long story short, every major that ends in engineering you will likely find in that college. We have our Medill School of Journalism, my alma mater. The only major in there offered is journalism, but they also offer an integrated marketing certificate, which you are able to take advantage of regardless of where your major sits at Northwestern. Our School of Education and Social Policy, maybe you're interested in being an educator or doing social policy work to impact your communities. We have our Beanin School of Music. That is our one school where there's a little bit more in the application process that we'll talk about later, but there is an audition required for that school. We have our School of Communications, which is kind of known as our performing arts school. It has our dance majors, our acting and musical theater certificates, as well as our TVF, radio, television, and film, if you're interested in working in production. A great part of Northwestern is the interdisciplinary academic offerings that we have. So using myself and my student experience as an example, I had my major in my Medill School of Journalism, a minor in Weinberg in history, and a certificate in our School of Education and Social Policy. So I was able to take advantage of 3 distinct academic programs and 3 of our 6 undergraduate colleges offered, which is something pretty unique, that flexibility that we offer at Northwestern to get outside of your bubble, explore other areas of interest, and add other majors, minors, or certificate programs to your academic study. Those are basically designated by different accreditations. For a major, typically between 12 to 14 credits, minor, maybe somewhere between 6 to 10, certificate, typically 6 or less. So again, with the support of the quarter system, giving you more time and space to explore in your academic years at Northwestern, being able to take advantage of different areas of study, interdisciplinary offerings across all 6 of our universities is something open to all students. There's actually a game, a bingo-like game we play by senior year to see who can take classes across all 6 of our undergraduate schools by graduation. So just a little fun to show that we do like to get out of our primary areas of focus or expand the learning that we do at Northwestern. So interdisciplinary opportunities, whether you feel like you're firmly in the sciences or humanities, not necessarily something you have to choose one over the other at Northwestern. You are able to pursue both of those if that's something you choose. Experiential learning also takes place outside of the classroom. Study abroad opportunities offered with over 200 locations in international countries. We have the support of our Global Learning Office to help students identify their goals for going abroad and which locations may be a great fit for them, and how to fit that into their academic schedules on campus. Research again, is a huge proponent of Northwestern art culture. There's no expectation that you have prior research experience before coming, but that's something that you can get engaged in as soon as your first weeks on campus. There's lots of research taking place on our campus, run by our professors directly. You have the advantage of our Chicago campus as well, and to engage in research, let's say at our Feinberg laboratory at our medical school campus. So opportunities to actually apply what you're learning inside the classroom to other areas and spaces that impact the Northwestern student community or Evanston and Chicago area greater. Innovation outside the classroom. Again, not something that just lies between those four walls of your lecture hall. There's lots of spaces on campus where you can get involved and apply those skills that you're learning, or take different risks and explore things that maybe you haven't learned in the classroom. There's some centers like our garage. It's 1,100 square feet, filled with little tinkering tools for you all to explore, like a 3D printer, a laser cutter. That's kind of known as our startup hub on campus. Again, you'll see students who aren't traditionally in the sciences who use those spaces as well to explore their ideas or patents or app ideas that's open to all students, again, to take advantage of on campus. We also have our Ford Center for Design, our Shirley Ryan Ability Lab on our Chicago campus, just way more ways to explore and apply what you're learning in the classroom, again, outside, and how that can impact life after Northwestern.
What I hope you're getting from us so far is that Northwestern is a place of personalization. Some students come to Northwestern knowing exactly what they want to do personally, professionally, academically, and they dive right in to that specialized path. That's perfectly fine. Other students come to Northwestern with no idea what they might want to do personally, professionally, academically, and that's also a very valuable path at Northwestern. You'll find that no matter where students start, every Northwestern student has a discovery story. Every Northwestern student is taking classes outside of their major. They are engaging in these experiential learning opportunities that Julia has shared more about. And they are applying those skills in real world scenarios, all to aim for goals after graduation. And at Northwestern, we want you to leave campus not just with a job, but with an opportunity to pursue meaningful work that is a great match for your skill set and your goals for life after graduation. What you can see on the screen here are a couple of statistics about how students pursue career opportunities. We've talked a lot about experiential learning so far, so I'll just briefly note that internships are a major component of that. Most Northwestern students graduate having completed at least one internship. Many students complete more than one throughout their 4 years at Northwestern. Some of those are required by our undergraduate schools and programs. Others are elective that students explore with the support of Northwestern Career Advancement, a hub for career and professional development throughout your time at Northwestern. All of this personalized advising and support leads to really strong outcomes for our students after graduation. Within 6 months of throwing that graduation cap, 96% of Northwestern students are employed in graduate school or pursuing some other sort of meaningful work experience. We've spent a lot of time talking about academics and career preparation, and that's an important part of the college experience. But community is another big piece of the Northwestern experience, and Julia's going to share a little bit more about that.
Yes, so one aspect of our Northwestern community is residential life. At Northwestern, we have a 2-year on-campus living requirement, so that could take you to our south or north end of campus. There is student option in that and where you choose to live. We offer residential colleges, which are a little bit more of a tight-knit student community. Sometimes they fall under a theme. Maybe that's Slivka, our engineering residential college. Doesn't mean you need to be an engineer to live in that space, but a lot of the programming that will happen in and around that space will likely be aligned in the engineering field and getting you those exposures. So thinking about if you want more of a tight-knit feel, we do also offer our more traditional dorms, larger fields, communal bathrooms. You kind of have the choice of what you would like your living environment to look like at Northwestern. Maybe you want to live on the north end of campus, which is closer to more of our engineering and lab buildings. Maybe you want to live on our south end of campus because it's closer to your performing arts academic buildings, or maybe just closer to downtown Evanston and the Target. So living on campus is a big part of campus life that kind of gets you into the routine of what a day in the life of a Northwestern student is. It's a lot different from high school. You're not just going to classes with these students. You are dining with them at all the meal times. You are sleeping on campus with each other. It's really like a summer camp feel. So where you choose to reside on campus can have a big impact on your experience, the friendships you make, and just pushing yourself out there and getting to know the greater Northwestern community. Our traditions on campus, one of my favorite things to talk about, student life, culture, the traditions that make Northwestern unique and what we are. One of the first of those that all students will participate in is what's called March Through the Arch during orientation for first-year students and transfers. Our marching band plays them through our big staple, our gridiron arch on the south end of campus. After graduation, you march the other way, backwards out the arch to kind of symbolize your journey in and out of Northwestern. Wildcat Welcome is that orientation week period where you'll get to know Northwestern very well. It's very extensive programming. You'll probably be a little bit exhausted after it, but you'll have really a strong feel of campus support resources. That's also when you would register for your first quarter of classes, all with the support of upperclassmen who work as your peer advisors. The Rock is also something that's a huge staple on our campus. In order for any of our student groups to promote an event or fundraiser that they may be hosting, we have a huge rock in the middle of our campus. It's a water fountain that's been painted over 100,000 times. So if you see students camped out there, they are housed. They are camping out for 24 hours to be able to promote their event. So you may see sleeping bags, tents for student groups so they can earn that right to paint the rock and promote whatever it is that they're looking to promote. Dance Marathon, it's a 24-hour nonstop dance marathon fundraiser, one of our biggest philanthropic events on campus. They regularly raise hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars to support local and national organizations. Exam Relief Week, it's kind of a whole week of different programming, can look like a lot of different things. One of my favorite on campus was Primal Scream, which was a time of night we'd pick for the week of finals, open our windows, step out of the library, whichever space you may be existing in that moment, and just let out a big wildcat scream. It's proven really be good for stress relief during that time of year. And then Dillo Day, probably one of the biggest days and events on campus at Northwestern. We host the country's largest student-run music festival. It's produced by a group, Mayfest, on campus. It is the only day where the president will close all the libraries, so you couldn't even study if you wanted to. It's out on our beautiful Lakeville. Our student groups are building the stages. We have food trucks come out. We've had different artists like Sean Kingston, ASAP Ferg, Flo Milli, Remy Wolf, both the Smith siblings I've seen through Northwestern. So music is definitely a big part of our campus community and culture. Dillo Day is one of our most loved days on campus. More about our student culture. We're really trying to have a collaborative atmosphere on campus. That's something that we're looking for in our student bodies and how they get involved outside the classroom. Again, we have over 100 groups dedicated to things of cultural focus. Maybe that's nationality, maybe that's a faith-based group that you'd like to get connected with at Northwestern to make campus feel a little bit more like home for you. We've got over 40 politically focused group. A big one for us is ASG, or Associate Student Government, if you'd like to be involved with the happenings of student life on campus. We've got 19 a cappella groups, which is quite impressive for a campus of our size. So again, we love to sing at Northwestern. One of my personal favorite groups is called Soul for Real. Look them up on YouTube, see some of their music. And then we are Big Ten Division I. We are the only school in the Big Ten Conference where all home games are free for students to attend. So if that's basketball, football, lacrosse, field hockey, tennis, we have that for you, able to enjoy and show your purple pride and Wildcat spirit.
So if you are excited about everything that you've learned today, again, about Northwestern's academic experience, about experiential learning opportunities outside of the classroom, and about our vibrant collaborative culture and community, we hope that you'll take the next step and consider applying for admission. So that's what I'm going to talk about briefly now. Northwestern's admission process uses something called holistic review to make admission decisions, and I think that can be a confusing word. For us, it means two big things. The first is that we care about the context of your application. So we are always reading applications with an understanding of a student's high school environment, their local community, and any other factors at home or outside of school that might have impacted their experience as a high school student. The other piece of holistic review that matters to us is that each of your application materials is part of a larger story. So when we read applications, we are connecting the dots across the materials that you submit to get a full understanding of who you've been as a high school student, who you hope to be as a college student, and whether Northwestern is the right match for you and the goals that you have for yourself later in life. You can see the materials that we require on the screen in front of you. The primary focus area in our review process is your academic profile, and that includes a high school transcript and a test score if you choose to submit one. Beyond your academic profile, students are submitting other information about how they've spent their time in high school. Co-curricular activities, responsibilities outside of class, at home, with a part-time job. Anything that you are doing that's meaningful to you outside of the classroom is something that we want to learn about in the admission review process. Students are also submitting letters of support from their high school. One comes from a high school counselor or administrator and gives us information about that high school environment, the classes that are available to you, the grading scales that are utilized in those spaces, and any other contextual factors that we can consider as we're interpreting your transcript. The second letter of recommendation will come from a teacher, generally a teacher in a core academic subject, who can speak not only to your academic progress, but who you are as a classmate and friend and community member. And that insight is valuable to us, again, as we consider your fit for Northwestern. Finally, students are invited to write application essays. One essay is prompted by the application itself. It's a longer form essay where you can choose from a series of prompts and share more about a topic that is meaningful or interesting to you. The second application essay component are a series of short answer questions that are specific to Northwestern. These short answers invite students to reflect on Northwestern's values as an academic institution, as a community, again, of diverse and collaborative learners, and give the admission committee some insight about your college search. Why, among so many great colleges and universities out there, has Northwestern emerged as a place that you're excited to consider, and where you really feel like you could thrive as a student and as a whole person? All of those materials are coming together, and you are submitting them through one of 3 application platforms. The common application is conveniently the most common. That will allow you to apply to Northwestern and a series of other colleges and universities where you only have to submit your personal demographic information once, and then you'll be invited to provide supplemental information for each unique college or university. Our second application platform is the Coalition by Score application. It functions pretty similarly to the common application, and then you submit general information once and school-specific information to each institution. And then third, Northwestern is a QuestBridge partner school, and we welcome students who are applying through the QuestBridge College Match program. All of those applications hold equal weight for us. There's no preference from our admission committee. You can submit whichever one is most accessible and easy for you to find. You're doing so on one of 2 dates and one of 2 rounds of admission. November 1 is our early decision deadline. Early decision is a term you'll hear at other schools as well. That is a binding opportunity to apply to college. Students who are submitting an early decision application to Northwestern are saying, I've done my research, I visited if I can, and that's important to me, and I know that this is a place I'd like to be in the fall. If I'm offered admission to Northwestern, I'd be thrilled. I'd say yes immediately. Early decision applicants agree to withdraw all of their other applications and enroll at Northwestern if they are offered admission in the fall. So that's the binding part of early decision. Those students apply by November 1, they hear back from us in mid-December, and if they are admitted, that's the end of their college search, and we are celebrating that they are members of our next incoming class. January 2 is the deadline for our second and final round of first-year admission. Regular decision is a non-binding round, so students are applying by January 2. They make no commitment about whether or not they will attend Northwestern. They hear back from us with an admission decision by mid-March, and then they have until May 1 to make a decision about enrollment. They assess their college options and pursue one from there. We welcome about 2,000 undergraduate students to campus every year in our first year class. About 1,000 of them come from each of these rounds of admission. So about 1,000 from the early decision round and about 1,000 from the regular decision round. No matter when you are applying, financial aid is a central consideration for most families in the admission and financial aid process at Northwestern. So a couple of things to know about our financial aid commitments. We funnel our financial aid funds into a need-based financial aid program that is personalized to each student's family financial circumstances. So need-based aid means that we are awarding aid based on a family's financial circumstances. That focus allows us to make a couple of important commitments to students as they consider Northwestern. Number one, we commit to meeting the full extent of your demonstrated financial need. So when you apply for financial aid at Northwestern, you're doing so by submitting 2 forms. The FAFSA, the free application for federal student aid, is a federal student aid form that you will submit to any college or university at which you're applying for student aid. The second form is called the CSS profile. It's, again, accepted by many colleges and universities, but it gives us a little bit more data beyond what the FAFSA provides. Those 2 forms form your financial aid application, and from there, your family's contribution to college annually is determined. Meeting full need means that Northwestern covers any difference that exists between your family's contribution and the total cost of attendance, tuition, room and board, and any extra fees. That's covered in full. The second commitment that we make is that we have a loan-free financial aid policy. So when we fill that gap for students between the family contribution and the cost of attendance, none of that money is in the form of student loans. All of that aid is money that comes either from the federal government or from Northwestern directly and does not need to be repaid upon graduation. Again, financial aid is a very personalized process, much like academics, much like everything else at Northwestern. It will depend on your family's unique circumstances. And so we encourage you to work closely with our partners in financial aid who provide a number of comprehensive calculator tools and other resources on their website and can help you determine if Northwestern is a financial fit for you and your family. As we move to our final slide here, the QR code that's available on the screen in front of you will not only link to that financial aid website, but to a number of other resources as well.
Yes, we really hope you take this information we shared with you as an invitation to further explore our campus, our resources, and what makes Northwestern so unique. If you go to our undergraduate website, you can get a list of tours we offer in person or virtually, as well as a lot of other online material and tools that you are able to engage with, if that's school-specific information, sessions, or hearing from students directly about their experience at Northwestern. Definitely be sure to stay in contact with us and reach out with any questions.
Yeah. Thank you so much for watching. We hope to see you soon.
And go Cats.